Russell Wilson, in the next 5 years, Shady, he wants to win, too. We remember Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl his second year in the league, 2013 with the Seahawks. Yeah. Went back to the Super Bowl in 2014, but he hasn't been back since. A tumultuous time and tenure with the Denver Broncos. It's not over, not yet at least. But, Shady, do you still believe in Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I like Russ. I still think Russ can do it. I had a chance to see him at the Super Bowl. We were talking a little bit about the season and how everything unfolded. And actually, this morning, Brandon Marshall, he's the one that had the interview, and I was talking to him, I said, yo, you think he really got it? You think he believed what he was saying? He said, Shady, he's balled and he really wants to do it. He wants to prove the doubters wrong. Yeah. Right? It's one thing to everybody love you, right? Hey, everybody loving you, everything you're doing. Seahawks, they love you. You can't, Russ, let him cook this, that, and the third. You got the superstar wife. Everything's going good. You move on for Seattle and it look bad and everybody's against you. Yeah. So you want to prove yourself right again. And I think that he's still a good player. He's 35 years old, right? You look at the last 9 games he won, I think 6 of the last 9 games while he was still playing. The defense played pretty well, and then you've seen the small little plays that he should do, keeping the plays alive, right? Throwing on his back foot, making an amazing pass for a touchdown. We've seen him beat the Bills on a roll. We've seen him win different games. So I think in the second year with Sean Payton, because let's talk about this for a second, because people are not talking about it. It's all about Russ. Sean Payton wasn't great this year.
No, he wasn't.
Let's keep it real. He wasn't great this year. Yeah. And we all think he's a great coach. I think he's one of the best coaches we've seen in football, especially as an offensive mind. You give him the second year, right, getting back.
But let's take that off the table, because Payton does not want Russ from everything we have read between the lines. So we can't assume that Russ is going to be back there because Sean Payton asked Russ, or the team did, to defer his injury guarantee to another year so that if he gets hurt, they don't have to pay him. So we can't assume that.
But, I mean, a lot of coaches do that. You play this game, you know. All right, they'll keep you. It's all about that money now. It's all about that paper. All I'm saying is this. Having Russ and having Sean Payton in their second year, right, new offense for both parties, and they get it going again. I think Russ still has enough talent if he has a good defense. I do honestly think, and I hate to say this, Russ, I don't think Russ can just do it by himself.
Of course.
Them days are over with.
Yes, sir.
Right? I think the best Russ is when he had the Seahawks, that defense. He had that running game. That's when they were rolling the winning championships and going back to the Super Bowl. If he can get that same thing in Denver, the same way that defense played after they got 70 points on them, and they started playing together and playing good defense, and letting Russ, I don't want to say cook, but microwave it, right? Brian ain't cooking no more. He's microwaving, but you still can win games.
Yes, sir.
Microwaving, and that's okay. So, yes, I think Russ deserves another shot.
I mean, you still get fed.
Yeah.
You still eating, right?
Yeah, you still full.
Yeah.
Sometimes it tastes
might not taste like it's
as good.
But it still can be good.
You're going to live.
Season it up.
You know?
Look, real quick, Jordan. Listen, my mom and dad worked, right? And you know how them ghetto parents. You got to cook something.
Yep.
From 10 years old to 17, I was cooking on that microwave.
Ramen noodle?
And I got the stove when I got to college.
There you go.
You know, little egg. You ever had no eggs in the microwave? You ever had some noodles?
Yeah.
Come on. So,
and you know, you were all-decade.
Tell him. He forgets it. You know what I mean?
To do it in your intro. I still believe in Russ, and for a multitude of reasons, but mostly because I've seen him do it before. And even though he might not be in the peak of his prime, he's still physically able to do what he needs to do. I think he knows the game very well.
Yes, he does.
And I think he now has the experience of the struggle, right? You might not want new problems. Everybody wants new problems until you get new problems. And you're like, you know what? Them old problems wasn't so bad. He asked for a new situation, and it didn't go according to plan. And sometimes that happens.
A greener field.
And more in sports, when superstars get more power, we're seeing a lot of this. Sometimes the demons you know are better than the demons you don't. And he had a rough time in Denver. I think it's probably coming to an end. But that doesn't mean that his career necessarily is coming to an end. And I do think that a lot of what Shady said is true. If he goes to a place that is led mostly by defense, a situation where we saw him have previous success with some talented pieces around him, I think he's not only still physically capable of it, I think mentally he's capable of it. And I don't think that he's lost the ability to go out and be a leader. The situation in Denver was bad. The first year was bad. It was bad on Russ. It was bad on Hackett. It was bad. It was bad. And this year wasn't that great either, which is why I think that it will end up being a parting of ways. But I still believe that he's capable of doing great things in this league. Do I think he can go out and win 2 Super Bowls? As he said 2, or he wants to get the second?
2 in 5 years.
Okay, I don't know if I'm ready to go there, but aim high. You know what I mean? Aim high.
If he get 1, we still love it, though.
But we love it. I love it. Aim high. There's no reason to sell yourself short. I don't know if I'm going that far, but I think he's still going to have a lot of success in the league.
I guess the question for me is, what is it? Shady said, I think Russ can still do it.
There it is.
What's it?
There it is.
That's really my question, right, is what is it? I still believe in Russell Wilson, but I believe in Russell Wilson to be who Russell Wilson was. But who was Russell Wilson? A quarterback who could win a Super Bowl with a generational defense. Not a good defense, not a great defense, not an elite defense. A generational defense. Can Russ still win a Super Bowl with a generational defense? Yes. But are there still generational defenses out there? I haven't seen one lately. 2015 Denver Broncos, 2013 Seahawks, 2014 Seahawks. Outside of that, I wouldn't call another defense generational. Ravens defense this year was good. Niners defense was really good. Pretty good. But generational? Like Seahawks who outscored the Denver Broncos without playing offense in the Super Bowl? Kick return for a touchdown, fumble return for a touchdown. No, that's generational. Yeah. Denver Broncos, 2015 Super Bowl team, generational. Held Cam Newton, who we will talk about later, held Cam Newton to looking like a remedial player, not an NFL MVP. So I still believe in Russell Wilson to be that. But that is a quarterback who won a Super Bowl with a generational defense. I haven't seen very many generational defenses just walking around the NFL, James Jones. So I believe in Russ, but I don't think Russ can go out there and save a franchise.
Yeah, and I'm with you. The Legion of Boom ain't coming back. And when we talk about success for Russell Wilson, winning-wise, is when he had the Legion of Boom. When he came to the Denver Broncos, all we talked about was they're a quarterback away. This defense. Right. There's no team out there right now that he's walking into the same situation he was walking into in Denver with a big-time defense, two really good wide receivers. There's no team like that. So for me, I don't believe in Russ because it's not about just playing average. He talked about winning 2 Super Bowls. I don't believe in Russ to win 2 Super Bowls because the teams that need the quarterbacks, where are you going to do it at? Commanders?
Steelers.
Steelers.
Possibly.
Steelers.
Possibly.
Steelers.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Possibly.
I know Joy, Shady, I know y'all are both hot on that. I have that in my notes as well. I say, should teams want Russell Wilson? I said the Steelers.
So team.
Yeah, a team, the Steelers. My only dilemma with the Steelers, and I can't wait for y'all to unleash on this, is Russell Wilson and Mike Tomlin, 2 completely different personalities. 2 completely different personalities.
I
Winning is the same personality, though.
Winning is. But Russ, and we know Russ. You saw Russ at the Super Bowl. I talked to Russ at the Super Bowl for a little bit. Russ is a calm, mild-mannered, always optimistic, never upset, never fiery, Russ is just a really nice guy.
Okay.
Just a really nice guy. I don't know of Steelers star players that have the same personality as Russ. From the Le'Veon Bells to the George Pickens to the Antonio Browns. I can't think of Steelers players that Mike Tomlin has kept around offensively and defensively for that matter that have that same just kind of like everything's all good. It's all good all the time. Life is good. Life is great. And you're asking your quarterback to be that? I don't see Tomlin and Russ gelling. That's my opinion and my take on it.
I mean, would you describe Pete Carroll as that kind of personality?
I would say that Pete, and I only know Pete because he recruited me back at SC, Pete is much, much, much more just jolly. He would walk around with a golf cart and golf clubs.
Yeah, he's chill, but he's also yelling and screaming and running up and down and doing the coach thing. Like, he's a very expressive personality.
Yes.
He's not someone that I would immediately describe as chill. He can be chill, but he also has a massive personality and worked in huge markets and dealt with big personalities as well. I disagree. I think Mike Tomlin is I don't know if there's a perfect match for Russ, but the personality thing does not throw me off at all. Not only is Mike Tomlin the standard, him and Andy Reid, to me, of establishing and maintaining a culture in the NFL, the standard outside of Andy Reid, he's somebody that works with all different kinds of personalities. You mentioned some big, somewhat disruptive personalities at times, right?
To be nice.
There's also all kinds of guys, all kinds of different personalities in that team. And the reason that you don't mention them is because they're not out there doing all the things that those guys that you mentioned are doing. They're not going on live. They're not doing all those things. There's all kinds of different personalities in the locker room. I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers is the perfect place for Russell Wilson. I do not look at that as a place that is dysfunctional. I don't look at it as a place that he has to walk into and be the voice either because of Mike Tomlin. He can come in and do his job.
Yeah, I just think that if you see the things that Mike Tomlin has been doing with that type of team with no quarterback,
yeah,
that's amazing. And the stuff that Russ did with the Broncos, that's good enough to win for the Steelers, right? I've watched games where Steelers can't no offense, right? Defense playing great all game, and
defense
then
won them.
You might have 1 or 2 plays on offense and they win the game. So I love Russ to go to the Steelers. And then you talk about personalities with the quarterbacks, man. Out of all the positions in football, I don't even count the kickers and all them dudes. The quarterbacks, they're the most, like, different player on the team.
Correct. But here's my thought. I don't know that your quarterback's supposed to be a leader.
Yeah.
Your soldier, your dude. We think of these quarterbacks as nice guys.
They lead in different ways,
No
though.
doubt about it.
Okay.
No doubt about it.
All
We've played for several different, you've played for several different, all played for several different.
For sure.
I just don't know the Mike Tomlin I'm familiar with.
Okay.
We all have our different relationship with Mike Tomlin.
Okay.
I don't know if you would say, yeah, I want Russ to be my fearless leader. Not the Russ that was doing high knees on the airplane.
My question is like Big Ben. Okay, Big Ben.
That's what I was going to say.
A lot of people,
difference between Big Ben.
A lot of folks didn't like Big Ben playing with him.
To me, Big Ben, I don't know the word I can say on air.
Man.
Big Ben wasn't a nice guy. Big Ben was
Big Ben was also
was he a really good
necessarily-
teammate?
No.
But
that's my point. I think Mike Tomlin likes guys with some edge. Edge that you can reel in, but edge nonetheless. Think of all of the great Steelers, offensively and defensively. Outside of, I would say, maybe Cam Hayward. Yeah. But like edge. A little bit like, I don't know.
But when we think of quarterbacks, we don't think of edge.
Yeah.
There's like 3 quarterbacks ever that I can think of that I'm like, yeah, he got that dog in him for real.
But
Like,
think about
three
the ones,
ever.
But think about the good ones now. You would say Josh Allen got that edge.
Yeah.
You would say Patrick Mahomes got that edge. We would say Joe Burrow got that edge. I'm just thinking
I'm talking of the guys that we're mentioning. Even it's really a competitive edge. I don't think that Russell Wilson doesn't have a competitive edge. I understand what you're saying about his personality, but I don't think of Russ as somebody who's soft.
Nope, didn't say
somebody
that.
who can't stand in front of a room and command the attention of the room. And the biggest, I don't know who said it was everyone was talking, winning is the matching personality.
That's it.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, for Russell Wilson and Mike Tomlin should be tired of walking off the field, first round exit in the playoffs. Mike Tomlin should be tired of walking off fields like, dang, if we make one play on offense, we win the football game. If you're talking about Russell Wilson, the only team for him to go to that needs a quarterback is the Pittsburgh Steelers to have an opportunity to win a championship. You're not going to the Commanders doing nothing. You're not going to the Falcons winning 2 championships. So for me, this is the only place. You have a really good defense. You have really good playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, 2 good running backs, 3 good receivers, really good coach. Like, this is the place that makes the most sense. And for Mike Tomlin, we had conversations about them letting you go. And you had winning seasons, but you weren't getting it done in the playoffs. Russell Wilson, to me, is the only guy that could really help the Pittsburgh Steelers get over that hump. What does that mean? Does that mean Super Bowls? I don't know. But I don't think it means a first-round X with the way Coach Tomlin coaches.
And another thing is, like, I think it's a situation that it's a win for the Steelers and for Russ. When you look at Russ coming from the Seahawks, he had the big name, right? They gave him a big contract for the Broncos for a reason. Come save our franchise. Steelers ain't asking him to do that.
Of course.
Come be part of this franchise, right? Because we got the defense. We got the special teams.
Yep.
We're going to run the ball because we got our own identity. The Steelers don't change. We're going to play great defense. We're well coached. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to let our quarterback make plays here and there. That's what Russ is. On Big Ben, right? Yeah. He made plays with his arm, but sometimes he made plays with his feet. They're going to run the ball, and they're going to play great defense. If you put Russ with the Steelers, you don't need him to be the Russ to save the day. Right?
Agreed. On paper, I agree wholeheartedly with every one of you. On paper, I have the exact same thing in my notes. On paper, I agree with all of you. But Russ gets criticized just as much on the field as he does off the field. Right. We are all well aware. We all know this. We know Russ's personality does not gel with everybody. It didn't gel with everybody in Seattle. Yeah. Really not much of anybody publicly in Seattle. And in Denver, you had defensive linemen yelling at Russell Wilson, backup Denver defensive linemen. We know that Russ's personality doesn't gel with all the media people. Now, he just did an interview for the first time I've seen in a long time. Doesn't gel with all the media people. Now you're going to Pittsburgh, where you have a bunch of personalities that are always tough, rugged, edgy, all of them. And most recently, now you got George Pickens. George Pickens was called out because he didn't even feel like blocking. Throws his helmet down on the football field. I'm not talking about on the field. I'm not talking about that aspect. I agree with all of you all on that. But now speak for a moment on what we know about the personality tension that Russ has had with his players and what we all know about the Steelers historically. That's what I'm speaking.
I hear you for a second. But let's go to probably their best quarterback of all time for the Steelers, Big Ben. You hear a lot of stuff. A lot of people don't like Big Ben. They're not playing with him. Some people, they deal with it because he was so good. But he had the same thing, and he rubs people the wrong way. Listen, before I went to the league, I played at Pittsburgh University, right? And I would be there. I'm just being honest. And a lot of players that I've met up there on offense, I won't say their names, but they didn't like Big Ben like that. I like the big man. I didn't know him. Right? And as more got in the league, I liked him. He was cool. But a lot of players and star players, they didn't really like him. They didn't gel together. See, one thing about football, you got to respect each other. I might not like you, though, dog. You might not like me, but we respect each other. We want to win a common goal, and that's a Super Bowl. And a lot of teams have done that. Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. You would say Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest, and you would say Tom Brady is one of the greatest. You hear all these people bragging, praise Tom Brady, he's this, that, teammate. Da-da-da-da.
Stay there.
How many times do you hear, I'm being serious, how many times do you hear Green Bay Packer offensive players, Green Bay Packers in general, just praise Aaron Rodgers, he's such a great teammate. I'm being serious now, though, right? So that tells you that, we still can win and get something accomplished, even if I don't like the way you are.
But that's another thing, too, though. One thing I learned about playing the game is you adapt to your situation.
That is true.
Right? So it's certain.
Because Russ does not adapt.
You're going to have to.
But he doesn't.
People might adapt to him. No, people might adapt to him.
I'm glad you brought that up. Russell Wilson does not adapt, which is a part of the problem.
But why doesn't he? You don't think this year he adapted in Denver?
No, I think that's part of the tension. I think that, to me, we know.
Because Sean Payton came out early saying all that stuff. But when you really look at Russ didn't come out complaining. Russ didn't come out doing nothing.
He didn't blame nobody.
All he did was put his head down and work. Teammates yelling at him. You never seen Russ yelling back at him or doing none of that. All he did was work. So when you're going into a different situation, to me, I've seen a lot of players come in certain situations and adapt to the situations. We know it's certain football teams that are not physical. They soft, they finesse. Even coaches. We know certain teams, like, you come over here, this is the certain way that we do it, right? I'm sure we've been to teams like that as well, too. So I don't see a reason why Russell Wilson can't adapt being a quarterback in any situations, to be honest with you.
Also, I hear you on the Pittsburgh personalities, but, man, I don't know that the hard-nosed, grinding, steel curtain, sounds good. But where's the postseason success with it? Mike Tomlin is an all-time great coach, a Hall of Famer. He's never had a losing season in his entire career with everything that's happened. There's an astonishing feat. If he has someone who's capable of, having a 6-1 record through weeks 7 through 14 just last year with a team that we now know probably doesn't even want him there, if he can have that, matched with the incredible defense that they've had this year, which they will always have because that is the identity of the Steelers. So maybe it's not generational. They always draft position players well. They always are intent on running the ball. They have a great culture. I don't think of them as a place where you have to come in and be grind, have edge, especially for the quarterback position. I hear everything you're saying about Russ's personality, and it's fair because that is the feedback that we've gotten from multiple places now. But at this point in your career, if you want to have success, going to a place that has an established culture that you don't have to create the identity there and they already have a defense, to me is the best case scenario. And if you're the Steelers, so what about Russ's personality? Get over it. You like getting to the first round of the playoffs and losing, or you want to have somebody who has a different type of personality come in and bring a different skill set? To me, this is the perfect match for both of them and the one that makes the most sense. And personalities aside, you're professionals. You get paid a lot of money to get over that.
And not only that, you better do something, because you're talking about a healthy Joe Burrow, a Lamar Jackson, and a healthy Deshaun Watson, and you saying Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett is finna get that done, right?
It's interesting.
They are going to have a winning season.
Did you like McNabb?
I liked his game.
You like McNabb's game?
I liked his game.
He did good, right?
Yeah.
I played with McNabb. I was a rookie when I got 20 years old. And I was a big fan of McNabb. Right? I'm from Harrisburg, Philadelphia Eagles, Steelers. I like both. When I got there, I think everybody loved McNabb. It's McNabb, right? Chunky soup, Donovan, right? Everybody didn't like McNabb. Everybody couldn't gel with McNabb.
Here's my only thing, and I'll say it bluntly, and obviously we got to go to break. Russ is a nice guy. We would all collectively agree he's a nice guy. I don't know how many Steelers players I look at and go, oh, they're nice guys. No, they're dogs. Now, Russ being a nice guy has won him a Super Bowl. I remember Juju was a nice guy.
Yeah.
He didn't last very long in Pittsburgh. Yeah. But I look at Russ as a nice guy, so I love Russ. Off the field, I love Russ way more than I love him on the field. Russell Wilson is an incredible human being. He's a nice guy. When I look at Pittsburgh Steelers players, I don't collectively say, oh, you know what? He was a nice guy.
Really quick, though. It wasn't a lot of nice guys on Seattle, but they was winning, and it wasn't none of this stuff we hearing about Russ now. You know what I'm saying? So get there and win, and nice guy, bad guy.
You know what? But it's the quarterback. That's the only position that it don't matter if he's nice or cool or mean, or he's a quarterback.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.